Dear the Spokeswoman for the Hellenic Action for Human Rights, Ms. Electra Leda Koutra, as I have come to the conclusion about the fact that you really don't mean to submit my case to the European Court of Human Rights. Therefore, I decided to write you this email and ask you once again to make a public announcement and also send me an email that describes your withdrawal from my case and your resignation as my representative for the European Court of Human Rights. Please be informed that I expect this announcement to take place immediately. I am truly exhausted and sick and tired of your empty promises and your continued lies. I have had enough of that at the hands of people smugglers, the UN Refugee Agency and the Greek authorities. I do not want to surround myself with the people who are only lying to me and maybe working on their own agenda while shamelessly pretending to be benevolent toward this humanitarian tragedy. I believe that you never really intended to help or offer any assistance to this case. It also seems to me that you never keep your own words, and I simply cannot trust such a person with anything, let alone a delicate matter involving my life, my safety, and my future. Why are you doing this and for what? That is of course a question for you, and I do not tend to answer. Neither do I expect any answers from you. I don't like having people playing with my feelings and my senses, practically when my life is in jeopardy. I think this must be part of the Greek culture and even perhaps the Greek DNA, which makes you what you are. And in that case, I feel even more sorry for myself for having ended up in such a despicable place. I didn't seek a lawyer who is sitting out there somewhere and only pretending to be my lawyer and doing absolutely nothing for the case she has undertaken. When you cannot make a difference, when with or without you the situation is the same, then you are redundant. And why would I bother having you around and bear all these extra headaches and suspicious behaviors when obviously I can have less of those without you? From years of experience in your country, a whole nation that is commissioned to kill refugees on behalf of others, with almost all its institutions involved, I know it is highly unlikely to find a lawyer anywhere who would be up to the task and would do it quick and would do it for real. But I think that situation is much better than having a person around only for the sake of lying to me again and again and doing absolutely nothing that is even close to what would seem to be serving my interests and upholding my rights. Perhaps you are also just wasting my time, or maybe waiting for a moment or for something to happen that gives you a justified reason to give up on the case, or perhaps you were just playing with my senses for this long, just for this moment to arrive where I get sick and tired of your continued lies and asking you myself for your withdrawal from the case. Cause and effects. Well, you must be happy and proud now, because it seems your plan has worked out well, and actually it looks like I have perhaps given you a favor by redeeming you from doing a task you never wanted to do, and you were always unwilling and reluctant about doing it. Besides all of that, this is not what a strong commitment and strong support would look like, because I surely recognize it when I see it, and what you have been doing for these many months is clearly nothing even close to that. While you always remind me that I haven't paid you for undertaking the case, but at the meantime you also always forget about the fact that you would essentially be paid when the results are delivered. I might not have openly expressed it before, but I have, of course, many other reasons that are questioning your actual intent. Whether you care or not, below I will be listing some of those reasons which have led me to making this decision and writing you this email. Those reasons are 1. However, for some reason not known to me, you have repeatedly reminded me that you are the only person who would actually be able to submit my case to the European Court of Human Rights, and no one else, is in itself alone only resembling a misery and nothing else. But even though you have officially undertaken the case before my release from Amygdala's pre-removal detention facilities on June 2018, but yet so far you haven't done anything satisfactory, significant, or even worthy of mention. What do you call this? Second, when I need documents, you are not willing to help gather them out. One example of this, you and your colleagues have repeatedly ignored my repeated requests for contacting the police department for the rest of the police reports of my illegal detention in their facilities over past 2 years. As for the documents currently in my possession, I haven't been assisted by anyone to gather them out. Third, it seems you also practically ignore or tend to reduce the frequency and the intensity of all the physical assaults on me at the doorsteps of the UNHCR office, as well as all the police's illegal treatments of my case, their physical and verbal abuses, and even their physical assaults. The latest example of police's ill treatments and physical abuses, which occurred upon my release from Khania prison and before leaving the Crete island, which immediately reported back to you at the time, was when I was still in Crete, but you ignored my phone calls on the day of the incident in favor of the police, and later in Athens you were demanding evidence from me. Just because the Greek people lie too much, that doesn't mean everyone else in the world would do the same. 4. From the 16th or the 17th trials I had in the court so far, you also tended to count only 3 of them, only those particular occasions that I ended up in prison, and you treat the rest as if it didn't happen at all. 5th, it occurred to me that you also dismissed the destruction of my shelters and also confiscation of my property at the doorsteps of the UNHCR office, which happened to me so far on 3 occasions. 6th, you also dismiss one particular incident where a passenger car hits me twice in the middle of the street opposite to the UNHCR's office and has tried to murder me. This incident happened on October 2017, as I was forced into protesting in the middle of the street due to the court's restraining order, which is still in place. I have the audio records of reporting this incident to the police and consequently being pushed away by them, rather than finding justice and holding perpetrators accountable for what they did and what they're up to do. 7. It has also came to my attention that Ms. Maria Tsatokoli, who is a colleague of yours and was in constant communication with you about my case at the time, purposely delayed contacting Professor Brad Blitz for the letter he wrote and addressed to the court last year. Even though she could do it days and even weeks before, but she contacted the professor only 24 hours before the timing of court, with a clear hope that the professor will never manage to write his letter, as he had to resend the letter again for the grammatical errors he made due to the fact of hurrying the letter at the first place. 8. You repeatedly warned me about recording my attempts of trying to reach the employees of the UNHCR at the doorsteps of their organization outside their building, and occasionally accusing me of attacking them when actually no such thing has ever happened. And at the meantime, you totally close your eyes on the ways and manners the UNHCR has responded to my distress calls and my case in general over the past 4 years. You apply the same approach when it comes to the Greek authorities. 9. You also continually ask me to stop tweeting or writing emails to the European authorities, particularly those of whom involving refugees, migration and human rights issues. And by referring to my emails and tweets as junks and spams, you have attempted to persuade me to stop writing or tweeting. And at the meantime, you also failed to propose what I should be doing instead. Doing nothing, I suppose. So demanding, isn't it? That is basically how the Greeks have gotten away even with so much blood on their hands. 10. You also didn't care about the blockage of my phone. The Greek state has blocked my phone on July 2018 after my release from Amygdaleza when I was sleeping rough at the doorsteps of the UNHCR's building with no shelter or whatsoever. The blockage of my phone has come as an attempt to stop me from making and publishing videos about my situation and Greece's treatment of my case. But soon after they put me in prison again for attempting to reach the UNHCR office again, and after my release they cut the internet I used to use to publish my videos. This, to me, is an all-round war where Greece, with the help of the UN Refugee Agency and all its institutions involved, shamelessly demands that a person gives up all his rights and even his life for their own failures and shortcomings. When at the meantime you, as a spokeswoman for the Hellenic Action for the Human Rights, or as an independent lawyer, telling me that I have to wait probably for up to 9 years just for my case to reach the European Court of Human Rights and get a decision on it. And regardless of what that ruling would be, and also regardless of whether this is true or not, but if that is what you are doing or planning on doing, then I have to ask myself, what do you stand for and who are you standing with? Me, the victim, or the oppressors? I profoundly doubt that you treat your own people the same. When you think of me as an enemy, when you treat me as an enemy, then no matter how hard you try, obviously you cannot be my defendant. And this is where I have to ask you once again to make this public announcement about your withdrawal from my case, and also to send me an email to verify the end of your theatrical show, as well as the end of our never productive lawyer and client relationship as soon as possible. Please keep in mind not to forget to tag me whenever you manage to make this announcement. Thank you for your time and attention, and I will look forward to your reply. Yours respectfully, Anwar Nillufary. Today, Tuesday, December 27th, 2018.